Is the inventory. So my name's Mark Wayne II here at Champions Real Estate Team at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. Before we get into the numbers, let's jump into our quick tip. So quick tip for you guys today is listing photos. So when we're getting ready to sell the house, my clients ask, how important are the listing photos? They are very important. Those are the very first things that the potential buyer is going to be seeing. A lot of those home buyers are shopping online for the very first time, so they're looking at your house. And then the second showing is when they come and look at your house, walk through the house to make sure that those pictures that they saw online are indeed what they looked at, in person. So they kind of match. So there's many houses I've been into. Pictures look great. You go into that house and it's a little different. The paint's a little off and things of that sort. So that's one of the most important things is attracting those buyers off those initial pictures. So that's hugely important. Today, actually getting pictures done at a listing today for a house that's going live on Friday. I also have a new listing going live tomorrow. So we got two new champions listings this week. But I go to all my photo shoots. I want to make sure that that house is ready. So when that photographer goes in, because the photographer's not going to go move things around and that sort. But me as an agent, my job is to get that house prepared with you as my client and customer to get that house ready to rock and roll. So all the little tips and tricks. I was at my house this morning moving some furniture around, just things of that sort, getting it ready to rock and roll, make sure the toilet seats are down, silly things like that. Those are some things I'm very particular on when I see pictures. I'm like, gosh, how do you work with an agent that doesn't go and put the toilet seats down, of the pictures? Those are just little things like that make a big difference. But let's jump into it, like with the real estate market and what's going on. Let me pull up the graphics here for you and click over here. All right, as this pulls up here, so we got new listings that went live in the last 7 days in the Omaha metro area. 689 listings went live. So that number jumped up from about 580 to about 100 more new listings than we had last week. 497 new contracts written. So that was up just so slightly, nothing too crazy. So as we see more houses coming on, not as many buyers catching up in that time frame. Sold homes, so that's basically what's indicative of what happened 30, 45 days ago. That number jumped up. So, I mean, we're kind of, right in that spring market, beginning of April. Weather started getting a little nicer, so we see more houses come off the market or that were sold. So congratulations to them. So what we're kind of seeing here, so what does this mean to you? What is that doing to our months of inventory? So that bumped us from 2.5 months supply of inventory up to 3.4 months supply of inventory. So as you can see in the little graph down here on the chart here, 0 to 3 months seller's market, 3 to 6 is a neutral market. So neutral market, you know, what does that mean for everybody in line? So basically the market's kind of holding steady. Kind of we've bounced between that 2.5, 3.4, even up to 4 a couple weeks ago, 4 months supply of inventory. What that means is if no more houses came on the market after today, there would only be 3 months, 3.4 months supply of inventory, and then we would be out of houses, essentially. So the other thing to take into note, this is the entire marketplace. These are all 3,300 homes on the market in the Omaha metro area that make up that month supply of inventory. But when we go look at specific areas, specific price point, that month supply of inventory may drop to two months supply. So then you're in a seller's market. So that's why getting a game plan together and having a strategy from a buyer's perspective is hugely important. Because if you're just reading the press clippings, because I'm trying to do an overall view here, but when we work together, we're going to do a deep dive essentially into what market you're looking in, what sector, what area, and those things. So what can you look for from a buyer's and seller's perspective? So obviously, from a buyer's perspective, there's more houses on there, less buyer competition. You might have a little bit more leverage improving in that side. So obviously, pressure to jump right out there, maybe lessening a little bit, and then obviously more options opening up. You have more homes out there to select from. As the spring market, you get more markets or more homes on the market out there. And then also from what we were talking about with interest rates. So mortgage rates, obviously, that kind of, we saw some rise in mortgage rates. Mortgage, I can talk today. Mortgage rates, last week a little bit, and just with the whole Middle East stuff with Iran and those type of things, people are, I think, kind of taking settling back a little bit. Let's wait and let's see what happens, and that gives some opportunity for other prospective buyers that, aren't concerned as much, or is current concerned as much as what's going on in that side that, hey, we need to buy a house, let's go buy a house. So those rates, I think that's why we're seeing a little less buyers in the buyer pool on that side. Sellers, what does it matter? From you guys, if you have more competition, your pricing matters. Because your buyers out there know exactly what they're getting for that price. If they've seen a lot of houses, they know what 500 gets them. They know what 525 gets them. They know what 475. So in perspective of whatever buyer pool, that you're pulling from or entering into as a buyer or a seller, those numbers matter. So obviously strategy is critical. How do you want to price that home? When do you want to put that house on the market? The house that's going on the market, my two this week, yeah, we could have put them on at the end of May, and those type of things. But what we're seeing, in my 18 years, is May is one of those schools winding down. You're having graduation parties, you got weddings and all that. It's kind of the wedding season kicking off. So you've got a lot of different life events that happen in May. And so some buyers take it, well, hey, let's pull back, let's wait till the kids get their schedule, or let's get these events over with, and then let's go back in the summer. And you see a little uptick a little bit there. That's why we're getting them on before we hit that uptick. So the strategy is critical on what you're looking for from a seller's perspective. Like I said earlier, the last bullet point there, just more, obviously more competition, from a seller's perspective, you got more houses on the market. So, buyers maybe gaining a little ground, we've seen those ebbs and flows in the market, which you're always going to have that. But again, it's working here at Champions Real Estate Team and making sure that we can set up a strategy, whether you're buying or selling. I tell my clients all the time, if I'm working with you as a buyer, I'm also going to be working with you as a seller and thinking like a seller, so that when we write that offer for that seller, you know what they're looking for, and vice versa. If you're a seller, what do the buyers expect? Do the buyers expect everything to be done, updates to be done? They don't want to put new carpet in, they don't want to paint. Are those items that are concerning to them? If they are, and as a seller, if you're not willing to maybe upgrade or update some of those things, maybe we adjust it in the purchase price. And as an educated agent, when we walk through from a buyer's perspective, I'm like, hey, it's priced $20,000 below market value, and this is why. And so sometimes if you have buyers that's their top end of their market, like, well, we can't afford to do those things, but hey, you're getting into a great house that you can do those over time, and kind of what they call sweat equity. You can put you can paint the walls and not hire it out and things of that sort. So that's just kind of things we like to look at here from that perspective of it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, like I said, we do videos every week of what's going down, keep you informed. Our quick tips, obviously we can jump in and do a market analysis video with you, and a coaching session is what we like to call them here. So, but numbers down here, 672-7670, or reach out to us on any of the social media platforms. Like I said, like us, subscribe. We do videos every week. Keep the pulse on the market, and look forward to hear from you. And everybody have a great week, and happy Mother's Day for all those mothers out there. And